and graphing. All right, this is the format for a quadratic. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So if you notice, we're getting close to learning all the things we have to know for this particular class. So we've learned exponential, we've learned linear, and now we're doing the last function for Math 1, quadratic. Okay? All right. So, I think it's on the top of your paper. Yeah, you do have the word quadratic if you just want to circle it at the top of your paper. There's no R there. All right, so that's the y equals rule for a quadratic. What do you think the starting value is out of that? Why is C the starting value? Because it doesn't have an x. So C is your starting value. So write this down, please. C is your starting value. What else is C? What's the other word for starting value? Y-intercept. Very good. That's always the case. All right. The other thing that you need to know is that quadratics make a U. All right. The way I remember that is what letter's next after the Q? A U. So they make a U. So they either do this or they do that. So you should have space to make a picture. Do your two U's, all right? So the U could open up or it could open upside down. And the number with the x squared, if it's positive, it makes it open up. And if it's negative, if A is negative, it makes it go upside down. Okay? So if A is positive, so you might want to draw an arrow from the A, okay? Because it's the A value, the number in the front with x squared. If A is positive, it opens up. If A is negative, it opens down. All right, you may have a question on that. Okay, 4 words that mean the same thing. X-intercepts is one of them. X-intercepts. They're also known as the solutions. So these are just 4 vocabulary words that all mean the same thing. So x-intercepts, solutions, zeros, and roots. And we'll talk about that more in a minute. But for right now, just have it down for your reference. Okay, so let's actually do the first problem. So state whether it opens up or down, the x-intercept, the y-intercept, and graph. So we're doing a lot of stuff with this one problem today. So state whether it opens up or down. Let's do that first. What number is in front of the x squared? A 1, a positive 1 or a negative 1? Positive. And so that means it opens up. Since it's a positive 1, it opens up. So if I write it, you need to write it. If I write it on the board, you write it on your handout. It opens up. Okay? All right, to get the x-intercepts, we're going to have to do some work. So let's skip that for a minute. The y-intercept. What's the y-intercept right here? -4. Very good. So the y-intercept is -4. It's the one without the x. So that's the y-intercept. Okay? All right, any questions about those two things? Okay, to get the x-intercepts, you have to work it out. And that's what we learned how to do last week, how to work it out. How many parts does this have? It's got 2 parts. If it has 2 parts, you want to check and see if it's a perfect square. If it's got perfect squares. Is 4 on our list of perfect squares? Yes, so that means this one splits. So you got to do your 2 parentheses. Do your 2 parentheses. All right, x squared, how does it split? into what? X and X. How does 4 split? 2 and 2. And it has to be a positive and a negative. Good. Okay, here's the extra step that we're adding on. So look up here, please. Here's the extra step. You have to set these equal to 0. You've got to set each one equal to 0. So look, I'm putting x plus 2 equals 0. I'm doing x minus 2 equals 0. And then I have to solve it. So to solve it, you have to equal it to 0. So this is called, just for your information, this is called factor, and now we're actually going to solve it out. So if I draw my line, what would have to move to the other side? Positive 2, and it would become, so x equals negative 2. That's one of the answers. X equals negative 2. Over here, when I draw my line, negative 2 moves to the other side and becomes, so x equals positive 2. So those are my two answers. Okay. All right, these are also my x-intercepts. So they're my solutions and they're my x-intercepts. So this is the x, right? This is the x. So I'm going to put a point at positive 2. And I'm going to put a point at negative 2. What other point could I put on my graph? Very good. The y-intercept. Where's the y-intercept at? Negative 4. So this is the y. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a point. What kind of shape is it going to make? A U, and it opens up. All right, it makes a U and it opens up. Okay, so that's all we're doing. Okay, that's what we're doing on number 1. That's what we're going to be doing for the other ones. Okay. Any questions on that one? All right, number 2, x squared minus 5x minus 6. X squared minus 5x minus 6. All right, what number can I put in front of the x squared? Is it positive 1 or negative 1? Positive. So does it open up or open down? Good. Opens up. Okay, that's pretty simple to do. It opens up because it's got a positive 1 in front. Okay. Stephen A., what is the y-intercept going to be? Very good. Elijah, what's the other name for y-intercept? Very good. Okay. So those are two things that we know right off the bat. All right, the zeros, that's the same thing as solutions. You got to solve it. So look, this has 1, 2, 3 parts. Do y'all see that? 1, 2, 3. What do we do when it has 3 parts? Kick it out. So we're going to kick out the negative 6. Kick out the negative 6. Faith, what are 2 things that multiply to give you negative 6? 2 and negative 3. Hallie, another combination that multiplies to give you negative 6. Okay, let's check those. Samaria, what's 2 plus negative 3? Riley M., what's negative 6 plus 1? Negative or positive? Huh? Brandon, do we have a combination up here that'll work? Which one? All right, so that combination works. So I'm going to do my 2 sets of parentheses. All right, Zach, what would go in the parentheses? Good. So those are the 2 numbers you want, x minus 6, x plus 1. Okay? All right, I have to solve them out today. In order to know where to put them on a graph, I have to solve them out. So I'm going to write x minus 6 equals 0. X minus 6 equals 0. And x plus 1 equals 0. Anytime you have an equals, you draw your line. Draw your line. Shakira, what happens to -6? So I get x equals 6. That's one of my answers because I had to move to the other side. Brandon, what happens to x plus 1? Okay. All right, so now I'm ready to make my graph. Stephen A., what's one thing that can go on the graph? Does it go on the x or the y? Good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And put a point. Jeremy, what's something else that can go on the graph? -1. And Zach, what else can go on the graph? -6 on the y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now this one, look up here real quick. Look up here. This is not the bottom of it because then it won't be symmetrical. This one kind of does something like that. So it passes through that point, but it's going to go a little bit lower because they always have to be symmetrical. Okay? I'm not going to take off points on the test or anything like that. I just wanted to show you. Okay? As long as you have these 3 points correct, that's all I care about for this class. All right? Next year, you might have to go a little deeper. That's all you need to know for Math 1. Okay? All right. Number 3, 2x squared minus 4x plus 2. State whether it opens up or down, the solutions, the y-intercept, and graph. All right, Stephen R., does it open up or open down? Is this positive or negative? So it opens how? Up. Opens up. Madison, what is the y-intercept? So the y-intercept is 2. Okay. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is find the solution. Shakir, what do you notice about 2x squared minus 4x plus 2? Very good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Good job. This one has a GCF, so you have to do that when? First. You have to do it first. So I'm going to divide each of these by 2. I'm going to divide each of those by 2. All right, Riley M., what do you get when you divide them by 2? What are you left with? Squared. Minus 2x plus 1. All right, Chase, what do I do next when it has 3 parts? All right, how can I multiply to get 1? -1 and -1. Good. He's already noticed that you have to have what kind of 2? -2. All right, so that adds to give me -2. All right, so Stephen A., how do I write it next? All right, to get these solutions, Faith, do you know what I have to do with each of these? Make them equal to 0. And this one, you'll notice they're the same, so you don't have to do both of them. You only have to do one, because you're going to get the same thing. Samaria, what's going to happen here? Good. X equals 1. That's the same thing you would get there. You don't have to do both of them, because it's going to be the same answer. Okay. All right, Brandon, what's one point that goes on my graph? On which one, the x-axis or the y-axis? Hallie, what else goes on my graph? Zach, what kind of shape is it going to make? A U, okay? Anytime it has an x squared, it makes a u. Okay, so this one, here's how I can make it have a u. It has to pass through those 2 points. And how does it have to open? It's got to open up because it's positive 2 in front. It's got to open up. Questions? All right, number 4. Number 4. Riley K, does it open up or open down? Why does it open down? Good, because there's a negative in front. So it opens down. Elijah, what's the y-intercept? 6. All right, Brandon, what else do I have to do to this problem? GCF, very good. What goes into all of them? Yep, and guys, let's do -3. Because there's a negative in front, that it would be helpful if we got rid of it. So let's divide by -3. If there's a negative in front, go ahead and divide by it. Let's use that rule. All right, Stephen A., what do you get when you divide by -3? What are you left with? Good. -1. There you go. Good job. All right, Shakira, what do you do next right here? Very good. Faith, what are some things that multiply to give you -2? 1 and -2. And Zach, what do you get when you add 1 and -2? Does that work? Okay. All right, Stephen R., in parentheses. These are the two I want, 1 and -2. How do you write your answer? An x. There you go. Okay. All right, Riley K., what do you have to do next with each of the parentheses to get the roots? Good, make them equal 0. All right, Jeremy, when you draw your line, +1 becomes what when you move it over here? So x equals -1 for that one. And Hallie, what about this one? All right, Chase, so what goes on my graph? On the, okay. What else, Chase? Keep going. All right. And Elijah, how does this one open? Opens down. So this one, my U goes down. It's like a frowning face. If it's negative, it's going to be upside down. Okay. All right, number 5, 5x squared minus 5. Madison, tell me anything you want about this one. Opens up, why? Good, in the front. It's positive in the front, makes it open up. So Mary, tell me anything else about this one. All right, so you got to divide it by 5. Riley M, something else. All right, Elijah, something else. Very good. He divided it by 5 and got x squared minus 1. All right, Stephen A., what happens here? I got 2 parts. All right, how do I split it? Very good, Stephen. All right, Elijah, what do I do next? Good. Good job, guys. guys? Y'all got the hang of this? So Riley K, what will you get? X equals? And? All right, Stephen R., tell me a point that I put on the graph. -5 on the Y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jeremy, another point that goes on the graph. 1 and -1. Good. Go there. Guys, how does this one open? Up. Anybody have a question? Okay. Number 6. Number 6. Samari, tell me something about it. Jeremy, what is the y-intercept? Very good. Shakira, what else happens on this one? Okay, I know we haven't done a lot of these. See how there's a negative in front, guys? I want you to divide by -5. It'll make your life a lot easier. If there's a negative in front, divide by -5 for all of them. Divide by -5. Hallie, what do you get when you divide by -5? Close. X squared plus 2x plus 1. Negative divided by negative is a positive. Madison, what happens next? All right, what's the only way to multiply to give you 1? Yep, and that gives you 2, right? Zach, how do you write it in parentheses? Riley M., what do you do next? And it's the same thing. You don't have to do it twice. You only have to do it once. So Chase, what do you get x to equal? All right, Faith, how do I put that on the graph? And Brandon, how does it open? All right, so I have to make what kind of shape? A U that opens down. So you just got to get creative on how you can do that. Okay? Got to make a U that opens down. All right, any questions on the front? All right, flip it over. Number 7, what are the roots of 16x squared minus 49 equals 0? All right, the key word is roots. Circle that. Key word is roots. Key word is roots. When you see, all the way back, when you see these 4 words, yes, when you see these 4 words, you are setting it equal to 0. That's when you're doing that extra step. When you see these 4 words, some of y'all are very smart and writing that down on your paper. It's very good thinking. When you see these 4 words, that's when you're doing that extra step of setting it equal to 0. Okay? All right. So number 7. The first thing you have to do is put it in parentheses. The first thing you have to do is put it in parentheses, and then we're going to set it equal to 0. So when I see this word roots, I'm putting it in parenthesis form first, and then I'm setting it equal to 0. All right, this equal to 0 right here, we don't need it yet. We can mark that out. That's there to confuse us. How many parts does this have? 16x squared and 49? 2. Are 16 and 49 on our list of perfect squares? Yes, so this one splits. This one splits. How does 16 split up? And it has to go in the front. 4x and 4x. How does 49 split? 7 and 7. And my signs have to be Very good. All right, so I've done the parentheses step. I've split it up. Now I'm going to set each one equal to 0. So I'm going to do 4x minus 7 equals 0, and 4x plus 7 equals 0. All right, you know how to do these. You know how to do these. This is not anything new. This is nothing new right here. I draw my line. What moves to the other side first? Thank you. Negative 7 moves over here and it becomes a positive 7. I have to do one more thing here. I have to divide by 4. Does 7 divide by 4? No, it's just a fraction. Look up here at your answer choices. Which one has 7 over 4 as an answer? D. Now look, D also has another answer. What other answer do they have? If I worked this one out, look what happens. Positive 7 becomes, and then what do you have to do last? That's where the negative 7 over 4 comes from. Okay. All right. Number 8, what is the sum of the zeros of the function? Circle zeros. Circle zeros. I've got to do 2 steps when I see that. I've got to do parentheses form, and then I have to set equal to 0. When you see those words, those key words, parentheses form, and then set equal to 0. All right, Faith, how many parts does this one have? So I kick out the, what multiplies to give you 8? Riley K, what do you get when you add 2 and 4? Shakira, what do I need it to be? So what could I do? Very good. Excellent. All right, Samaria, how do I write that in parentheses form? Okay, because it had this word zeros, I have to set them equal to 0. I've got to set them equal to 0. All right, Hallie, what will you get x to equal here? Riley M, what will you get this one to be? Okay. All right, negative 4. There you go. Positive 4. Moves to the other side. All right, what is the question asking on this one? What is the sum? What does sum mean to do? Add. What is 2 plus 4? Okay, y'all can do that. All right, number 9, what are the roots of the equation x squared minus 3x minus 12 equals 6? Elijah, what do I circle? Roots. That means parentheses and then set equal to 0. That's what that means to do. All right, everybody put your pencils down for a minute. Put your pencils down for a minute. What's something extra they've thrown in here? Equal to 6. The first thing I have to do is put this 6 over here and make it negative. I want to have 3 parts. I can't have more than that. Okay? All right, you pick your pencils up. All right, so this is going to be x squared minus 3x. What's negative 12 and negative 6? So write this down, please. The first thing you have to do is move the 6. All right, now I've got 3 parts. X squared minus 3x minus 18. Stephen A., what would you do next? Good. Check out negative 18. Stephen A., what multiplies to give you negative 18? Nine and 2. But one of them has to be what? So we'll do negative 9, positive 2. Zach, what's another combination? Chase, what's another combination? What? -1 and 18. Brandon, another combination. All right, so let's add all these up and see what happens. I've got -7, -17, +17, and -3. Which one do I want? The one that gives me -3. So, Madison, how do you write it in parentheses? Good. All right, Riley M., do I have to do anything more? What do I have to do? I have to set them equal to 0. Bless you. All right, so x equals what here, guys? +6. What does x equal over here? -3. So what's my answer choice? C. It's got to be +6 and -3. +6 and -3. Okay, guys, stick with me. I know you're getting tired. We're almost done. All right, stick with me here. Look at this one, number 10. I've got -1/3 x squared plus x plus 6. What are two things that you know, Shakira, just by looking at this? What's one thing you know? What's one thing you know just by looking at that? Good, it has 3 parts. Brandon, what's something else you know just by looking at it? But what's something that you know about it? Does it open up or open down? Why? Because there's a negative out front. Does everybody see that? All right, it opens down. It opens down. What answer choices can I mark out? Yes. Answer is D. Okay. All right. Number 11. It's really hard to see up here. I think it's 4x squared. Is that -8x on your paper? +7 or -7? +7. Okay. Let's look at the front first. It has a +4. Does it open up or open down? Do they all open up? All right. What does the +7 tell us? All right, so let's look here. Does A go through +7? Okay. Does B go through +7? Does C go through +7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope. What about D? So the answer is D. Okay. All right, number 12. Number 12. Okay. This one's in parentheses form. It's in parentheses form. It's in factored form. Let's lobster claw. Let's lobster claw to get it in the form where we can see the y-intercept. What's x times x? What's x times -3? Then I do the bottom lobster claw. 5 times x is. And 5 times -3 is. Okay, does it open up or open down? Opens up. Do all the answer choices open up? What is the y-intercept? Okay, which two definitely do not go through -15? A and C. Okay? Okay. I know this is a lot today. I know this is a lot. See how it was in parentheses form here? What could I do with each of those parentheses? Great. I don't know who said it. Set it equal to 0. So x plus 5 equals 0. And x minus 3 equals 0. I could set each parenthesis equal to 0 to get more information. I need more information to pick my graph. Draw my line. +5 moves over here and becomes, so x equals -5. That's one thing I know. and I move -3, it becomes +3. So which of these has x at -5 and x at +3? D. All right, number 13. Number 13. Okay, what does this -3 make it do? Opens down. So I could go ahead and mark out all right, I don't want to lobster claw this one because I have an extra number out here that looks like way too much work. Okay? What could I do with each of the parentheses though pretty quickly? Okay? So x plus 2 equals 0 and x plus 6 equals 0. I can do that pretty quickly and probably find the answer. What does x plus 2 equals 0 become? X equals -2. Which answer choice has -2 on the x? Okay, is this one on your paper? Okay, look, it only take a second. What's the -2 make it do? Okay, so all right, it's got to open down. What else can I do? All right, x plus 3 equals 0. What happens? X becomes -3. Which one has x at -3? Well, both of these do. But if I set this one equal to 0, what else am I going to get? So that's the only one it can go through. Okay, here's your own.